Hello, hello. Let me know when you guys can hear me and if you can hear me okay. How's everybody doing tonight? I'll wait till I see validation in the chat that you can hear me. Hey, Amelia. Hi, Connie. Awesome. Hi, everybody. Chris, Pamela, Heather, Susan, Candy. Hey, Gail, Valerie, Olivia. Hey, hey. Kathy, Jennifer. Oh my God, everybody's in here tonight. Awesome. I love the stash. It's funny because I keep telling Debbie every day, I'm this close to shaving it off. I've never had a mustache. I've never been a mustache guy, but I've been trying something different, right? So who knows if it's going to stay or go. Sometimes I feel like there's a squirmel on my face. I don't know how many here are old enough to remember squirmels. I used to love those when I was a kid. They were like little furry worms with an invisible string, and you would act like they were alive. But anyway, hope everybody's doing great and staying warm. Yeah, Debbie's in the other room watching, and as usual, she's going to take down all of your names tonight because we have a really cool giveaway tonight. I'm going to give away. Do I have three things? I might have three things to give away tonight, if not two. But so we're going to give away a couple of cool things tonight. Debbie's going to take down all of your screen names here in chat, right? So you have to be in chat between now and it's 8 o'clock my time. So in the next half hour, you have to be in the chat so Debbie can see your username. She's going to write down all your usernames, put them in a bowl. And at the end of this chat here, she's going to come in with the bowl and we're going to pick the names live for the winners. But since we had that issue last time where there was a repeat winner, we're going to make the rules where if you've won something, in the recent, we'll make it like 3 months or something, then you're not eligible. You're not eligible to win again for another 3 months or something. That way everybody gets a chance at getting something. But tonight, we're going to give away three things. I have them all right here. So the first one was sent in by Olivia here. She's in Patreon. She's here in the chat. Olivia, right? Where are you at? I know you're in here. Olivia Gomez, right there. So she sent in this beautiful crystal. It's like a wand. What do you call it, Olivia? It's beautiful, though. You have like your angel up here. And she makes these. And I believe she sells them on eBay. But she sent this in to give away tonight. So that is awesome. Thank you so much, Olivia. It's a really, really cool item. So we're going to give that away tonight. I'm going to give away, what is this? Another recorder. This one is a Sony ICD B26, if my eyes are reading that correctly. So this one is going to be given away tonight as well. And these Sony recorders, they're pretty good actually. So as far as quality goes, I mean, a lot of people really like the Sony recorders. Okay, and finally, we're going to give away something some of you may already have, but I just don't use it anymore. K2 meter, right? So this is the meters where you can ask spirits to move the lights if they're around you, and you can ask them to move it to yellow, red, whatever you want. And I've had them do it on command, but these get a lot of, there's controversy around these because you can trick them. Like if you have a cell phone in your pocket and you're getting a text, it'll make this thing go off. So there's been people that have faked with these, and it's gotten a bad rap, but it is legit, and spirits can actually move the meter. I just can't use it in videos because then people just say it's fake. So, but it's really cool to have for a personal validation. Sometimes if you ask them to move those lights, they will. So we're going to give away all three of those things tonight. So tonight is going to be a Q&A as always. You guys can ask me anything you want. And the last three, this is the third live stream now where I'm using my camera that I film my sessions with for the live. And the only thing I don't like about it is I have to constantly look down at my laptop to see the question. So I apologize if I'm always looking down. I might switch back to my laptop camera next live stream so I don't have to constantly look down. This just gives better quality, I think. I'm a sucker for quality. So All right, so let's see where we at. What else is going on before we get to the questions? Oh yeah, for the $25 tier, I posted that video this morning at 8 a.m. For the $25 tier, the first in a series of 12 about how to establish a deep connection. Each video is going to go closer and closer and open you up more to allow you to establish that deeper connection. And it's basically, I'm just telling you everything that I've learned over the last 8-9 years from doing what I do. And in the first one, I got a little personal. So I hope you don't mind that, but it's, I'm just going to tell it from the heart, so to speak. So I hope some of you have seen that. And if you missed it or didn't get a notification, if you're in the $25 tier, it's there on the post page in Patreon. So thank you, Olivia. Where are we at here? You're watching, Connie's watching The Walking Dead. Oh my God, they killed Jesus. I'm like, what? She's watching The Walking Dead right now because it came back tonight. I'm recording it, so Debbie and I are going to watch it in bed probably after this. That's the one show I watch. I watch one show, and it's The Walking Dead. All right, so let's get to some questions. I don't think there's anything else to update. We have group night is next week. Now I'm drawing a blank for the date, but I posted the date on the post page as well last week. And again, it's going to be a double length group night. So I'm going to do pretty much 2 full group night sessions in one night, just to make sure everybody gets a fair shot at getting a message. So we're going to dedicate the first hour to everyone, no matter what tier you're in, and the second hour dedicated to the $25 tier. But again, even if you're a $5, you might get a message come through in the $25 session, because these spirits can come through at any time. That doesn't mean they're going to come in only that first hour if you're in that tier. So be sure when I post it, you guys watch the whole thing. Also, this is kind of cool. Debbie and I were at the Renaissance Fair today. I got a little sun color on me, actually. And I found these little pouches, right? They were only $5, and they're really cool, nice quality. And what do I have inside? My DR60s are in here. So it kind of keeps them protected. If I want to go to a location with it, I can wrap this, well, this one's longer. I could wrap it around my neck, but I thought those are pretty cool for $5 a piece. And that's about it. Let me drink some coffee and we'll get started with questions, if you guys have questions. Oh, also, the next live in 2 weeks, I want to mention this. Debbie and I are going to take a visit to my local crystal shop, and I'm going to film some there, and I'm going to film us picking out something cool from there to give away next time. So you guys will see that video before the next live stream, so that way you guys know what I'm giving away next time. I want to give away something every time. Is comments freezing for some of you? Kevin, it's running on my end, but sometimes some people do have hiccups and freezes and all of that kind of stuff. All right, so now I didn't see all of your comments while I was talking. So I don't know if anybody asked a question yet. I'm watching my toddler destroy my house, Kimberly says. Kind of like The Walking Dead. That's funny. If spirit is trying to connect with me, this is from Heather Dunton. Heather Dunton. If a spirit is trying to connect with me, what do I say or do? I feel strange talking to this static thing I see and have been seeing. It started a few months before my son Reese passed away. It started before your son passed away. Now, when you say static thing, is it something that you feel is there? And it doesn't really matter, actually, because if you feel, if you're open enough to it, you will be able to feel if a spirit is trying to connect with you. At least I do. And don't be afraid to just talk. Don't feel weird or strange. I mean, all of us in this group would be considered weird or strange by a lot of people, I am sure. But if I feel a spirit, for example, sometimes I'll be in bed and I'll know there's a spirit wanting to talk. I'll tell Debbie, oh, I might be up late tonight. I get up, I get my devices, and lo and behold, there's a spirit there wanting to talk. So don't be afraid to talk, because they can hear you. If I always tell people, if a loved one passes away, talk to them. They will be able to hear you if you focus on them. And we've talked about this in the past. Mentally focus on your loved one or a spirit you're wanting to connect with, and kind of draw them in and talk to them, and they will hear you. Now, you might not be able to hear them back without a device or without going through the whole process of a session, which takes time, but they will hear you. And the cool thing is, once you're really open to it and accepting of it and not afraid of it, you'll be able to feel them. And we've talked about this before too. So some of you know what I'm talking about. You'll be able to feel that energy, and it's a pretty amazing thing. So yeah, go ahead and talk. Don't fear it. That's the number one thing, because fear, I talk about this all the time, but the reality is, what do we fear, right? You got to ask ourselves, what do we fear? I think most people fear life, and you can't get rid of that fear of life until you no longer fear death. I don't fear death. I used to fear death. It's a natural thing, right? But I don't fear death. And I always say I don't want to die, but I don't fear it because I truly know there's greater things beyond. And once I lost the fear of death, I don't really have any fear in life. Nothing, I have no fear. And once you have no fear, so many things open up and become possible. So don't fear. All right, let's see if we have any other questions before I start blabbing on, as I often do. Hey, is Josh here? Is Josh here? I thought somebody says hello. I guess Josh is here. Hey, Josh. Hey, buddy. Oh, there he is. Hey. There you go. Thanks, Olivia. Yeah, so let's see where we're at. So I don't want to miss any questions. Okay, Gail, are our auras our soul? I've been listening to the Conversations with God series, and in those books, it was said that our souls house our bodies. What is your opinion of this? I haven't delved much into auras. As the most experience I have with auras is going to a psychic or a occult bookstore, whatever they're called these days, where you can go buy tarot cards and crystals, and they do those aura photos, which I never really believed in, to be honest. I'm a little skeptical of those. But hey, who knows? But my belief is our soul, our body houses our soul. We all have that energy within us. And there was a video, I remember Josh was talking about it. We're all, a ball of light, right? There's a video from 7 years ago on my channel. If you go to my most popular, the thumbnail is my hands and my son's hand on a Ouija board. It's a very old video. We're doing a Ouija session with a Sangean radio on top. And one of the messages was about a spirit. They give his name, and then they say he went into a ball of light and died, right? So we have that ball of light within us. That is our soul, I believe. It's energy. It comes from the source. And while it's not visible, we can't take an X-ray and see this ball of light floating through our body. When we pass, that energy leaves, and it's out there in the universe. It exists. We truly never die. It's that energy, our consciousness, our spirit, our soul, that light energy, that love energy that's within us. So our body here is housing that soul. That's how I look at it, but I could be wrong. This is just all of my theories based on the work I do. But there's a lot of people with a lot of theories, and they hold as much weight as mine. So yeah. Have you ever used the SLS camera? Yes, I have videos from years ago. I bought it many years ago when it first came out, Bill Chappell, and I used it, and I was excited by it because I would get these things to appear on command, it seemed, right? But then what was even more exciting to me, and Josh will attest to this, is the microphone in the SLS is somehow really good at picking up EVPs. It's not quite like the DR60, but I caught some really cool EVPs with that audio recorder, the mic on the SLS camera or whatever, the audio internals. But I stopped using it because I was finding that I could trick it. because what it's doing, it's scanning your environment. And if it senses some kind of anomaly, it'll put a stick figure up. So it's programmed to put a stick figure there. It's not seeing a stick figure. That's in the program. That's in the software code. So it's written in the software that if it sees any kind of anomaly that's different, it'll pop up with a stick figure. And I was able to get that stick figure to appear if I would aim it a certain way or move it. And then I found that if I just put it on a tripod, it was much less likely to have anything happen with it. So I was more impressed with it as a EVP recorder, I think. And for the amount of money it cost, I ended up selling it back. That was years ago, though. Like looking back, I probably would have kept it just to keep experimenting with it. Josh still has one, but it's something that I used a few times to test. I thought it was really cool. And then I got disappointed by it after some time. And then I sold it because I don't like to hang on to things if I don't use it. But yeah, so let's see, where are we at here? Have you seen the videos with Loma Byrne? Hope I said that right. I have not, by the way. Who can see angels? At least I don't think it was her. I watched a few videos of a woman. I don't know I don't know her name though. I really don't have time to watch much. I wish I had more time. She claims every human being has their personal angel. I believe that. I believe that 100%. I would say I would agree with that. Okay, where are we at? How do you get to go to the Bel Air House? Oh yeah, Candy was at our Bel Air House event. So I had an event there. It was about a year ago. I think it was like a year ago, coming up anytime, or next month, a year. And it was a lot of fun. And Candy was there. And she got to participate in the seance we had with the Wonderbox and DR60s. Josh was there. A few people flew in from Paranormal Soup. Jason Bland was there. I mean, it was really a lot of fun, but the house does have some dark energy to it. And it makes you not want to sleep there, though. We did sleep there, but it's not comfortable to sleep there, especially when you're really uber sensitive to these energies and you just feel that negative dark energy that's at that house. And of course the house near it, right by it, had some really evil stuff happen, and that's abandoned, and there was some crazy stuff in there. It just seems like a depressive kind of vibe going on over at the Bel Air House. And Josh and I talked about going back, and he was like, I don't know, we don't want to sleep there again, right? So because there's hotels around there. So I loved that event, though. It was really cool to be there for 3 days or 2.5 days, whatever it was. But Debbie and I drove like 2,200 miles one way. So we took a massive road trip, but it was still worth it. It was a lot of fun. And, we might, the owner is still trying to get me to have another event there. So it's possible. I keep going back and forth on it. But I'd love to do that if any of you guys, say Josh and I went to the Bel Air House again, which how many of you guys would want to go? That would be the question. All right. Hey, Tennille. Oh, you had a tech issue. I'm sorry. Oh, you're going back in September. Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, Olivia, I want to use mirrors. I'm still working on it on the next box, and I'm thinking there's a way I want to implement mirrors. So when I film, I might be able to capture something in one of the mirrors as I film. That would be amazing, because we really need visuals, right? We're getting so good with audio. What's lacking is visuals. And I know how hard it is to get visuals because, again, spirits are energy. It's invisible. Like you can't see electricity, right? I mean, you can when it, like lightning, I guess you can, but you don't see it every day. You don't see it just in the air. So you don't really see this energy. So there has, besides using water or fire or whatever, there has to be a way to get better visuals. So, I'm always working on stuff in the background, but I'm hoping to get something with those mirrors. That should be interesting. Josh. Oh, just get by. Said something about Ed. Where are we at here? I'm scrolling through comments, guys. I'm trying to find. Ed came through in my session last night. Said he wants my box. I haven't. Ed. You know, sometimes I don't understand. And I think this has happened to Josh too, where the spirits say they found the light and went into the light, and then lo and behold, they're coming through again. But you know, who knows the complexities of all of this? But that's interesting that Ed came through. Here's a question, Heather, again. When you are around negative people, how do you personally try to not allow them to affect your positivity? I'm lucky in that regard. I know how hard it is to be around negative people, and I talked about that in my lesson 1 video this morning, but I avoid negative people at all costs. And I'm also lucky in the sense that when I meet new people, or even online, and I don't know if that's part of my intuitive abilities or what, I know when I don't want to be a friend of someone or get close to someone or even talk with someone, because I can tell they're negative or they're up to something or they have an agenda, or you can just sense it. That's why I'm not really ever on Facebook, because Facebook is so full of negativity and drama and people just posting complaints of their life every day. And I see it from friends, I see it from family, I see it from those in the paranormal. There's so much drama in the paranormal. It's like everybody's out to outdo each other, or it's all about competition, or it's all about getting a TV show for many of these people. And they just backstab each other trying to climb up. So I just avoid all of that. And I'm kind of a loner kind of guy, right? I have a couple of close friends. I consider Josh to be one of those. And I have Debbie, of course. And I just stick with those that I know are going to enrich my life instead of drag me down in life. But some people get stuck in a situation, and I was stuck in a situation for 15 years that was awful. I can't even talk about it. It's funny, I made that video that I put up this morning for the $25 tier, and I had to go back and edit some out of it because I blabbed too much about personal stuff. And I'm like, this will get me into trouble. So getting out of that situation was one of the biggest life improvements that I've ever experienced. For 15 years, I was just constantly in negativity, and I was beaten down and belittled and drugged down and all kinds of stuff. And then I started to accept that as like, oh, this is just how life is. I got to deal with it. And I tried to block it and ignore it, and it would never go away. And everything was just not good. I got out of that situation through a divorce, and boom, everything just opened up, and everything was just like you know, like I had a brick wall in front of me before, and then after that the brick wall was shattered, and I was just looking at the sky like, wow, anything is possible. Life is amazing. But it's hard. It depends on, I don't know what your situation is, but you might be stuck around someone who's negative, or you might have negative friends. Like, you know, if I had an overly negative friend, and I did in life before, I don't have that friend anymore. Life's too short here to deal with that. And I've learned that, you know, over the last few years, especially. All right, where are we at here? Hi, Melissa Bolton. Hello. Yeah, I had a spirit saying he wants my box. Mida, I hope I'm saying your name right. They do say that a lot. I was testing my new box last night, and they said box like 3 times, like they love the box. And then I put the DR60 near the box, and I said, are you using the box? And the message to the 60 was, now they have the box, all loud. It was amazing. But I'll debut my new box soon. I'm sparing no expense on this one. It's like crazy attention to detail, and trying to dial everything just right. Stephanie Lynn, she sent me some ideas a while back in a drawing, and I tried to implement those. It wasn't really possible, but I tried to do an alternate of that. So thanks to Stephanie for that. Awesome, awesome. It's just amazing what we have here on Patreon. So Stephanie sent me a drawing. Even though I wasn't able to implement exactly what she showed me, I was maybe able to get 15% of that. And if that improves it, that's that is thank you to her. That's a collective effort. It's not just me. So that's just a beautiful thing to me. Yeah. Okay. I would go in a heartbeat talking about Bel Air. Bel Air's like really popular now. That house is like shot up in popularity. I think like BuzzFeed or somebody went there and it has like 4 million views. And I don't think any other haunted location has that kind of, publicity going behind it. I think my video's 700,000, one's at 300,000. It's getting a lot of publicity. Hey, Steve, nice to see you here. Oh no, my fiance's daughter's in the hospital. That's not good. I hope it's nothing serious. I'll send prayers after this for you. Steve has been, I've known Steve for years through ITC Collective, and he's been watching my stuff, and he's doing great stuff now. Glad to see you here. I'm so sorry about your fiance's daughter. Hope she is okay. Can I make my friend Paul go into the light? He's very attached. Can you help me? You're the expert at the talking part. I can feel he wants to. If you feel you have a loved one or friend attached to you, which they might be, that happens. You can do the same exercise that I do. You can go into a quiet room, make sure there's no distractions, clear your mind, and sit, somewhere in the room that's comfortable, and close your eyes and envision the room. But I like to envision it empty. I don't like to envision it with what I have in the room. It's an empty room, and then a door appears. But in the case, that's if I'm bringing spirit in. But in the case of the light, envision the empty room, and just envision the white light coming down from above, right through your house, into your head, through your body, and exploding into the room, and speak aloud to your friend. Tell him to go into that light and not to be afraid of the light, and ask for the help of God, ask for the help of Jesus, ask for guides to help, because as someone said earlier, and I believe it, we all have a guide, an angel. Some call them guides, some call them angels. They're here, they're with us. And I think that's who comes through the DR60 a lot is, I think Josh can say the same. I think it's those who are close with us and working with us in some way. So you have your guide with you, and there's ways to find out who that guide is as well. But I think you can do that, and you can be effective at it because he's your friend. But what I'll do for you is after this session, I'm going to make sure I mark this down. I will do a little thing here in this room and ask for the light for him right after we close this out. And, see if you feel any different after maybe 10 minutes after we close this out tonight. I'll do this for you. So, but you can do it as well. All right, where are we at now? Like for some reason, my chat's going crazy. Some of these, okay. Is there an ideal setting for reverb and pitch on the SCD2? If you're using just the SCD2 by itself, the reverb on there is not very reverby. Again, I didn't make the app. I don't own the app. I don't sell the app. I don't profit even a penny from any app with my name. Just a lot of people think I make them and sell them, and I don't. But I would always put the reverb to max on the app and the pitch to -2. And when I was using the app, that would get me the best results. But when you change the pitch, it kind of alters the voice. And what that really is doing, just like what reverb does, is it's changing the sound frequencies. And there's certain frequencies, what I've discovered, that spirits can use much easier. Again, I keep saying this, but Josh can attest to that. His new box uses a new reverb frequency, and we get many more replies coming through. But if you turn the pitch off, it'll be clearer, but you might hear more radio. When spirits start coming through, the whole dynamic changes, and you can tell the difference in the voice and the way they're speaking. And then when it's radio, you can tell it's radio coming through. So I would just experiment with it, but make sure you're recording and reviewing, because if you're not doing that, you're going to miss out on a lot of replies. Where are we at? Where are we at? Any more questions? Let's see here. Sometimes I miss, because they go while I'm talking, they come in and I don't get to see them. Why is some of these are getting flagged and I don't know why, so I'm approving them. How did you and Josh meet? That's a good question. That's from Melissa Bolton. I was making videos my first year, and I think I was selling some gear. I had like a little case of gear I was selling, and Josh was aware of me through my videos, and he liked my videos. And I sold him some stuff, a camcorder, which I think he still has, maybe a PSP-7. I don't really remember everything that was in it. And then he said, hey, why don't you come down to Florida and we'll film something. We'll film a documentary. And I was like, well, that sounds cool, but I don't even know you, so we have to meet, right? So he actually flew me down to Florida, and I got to meet him and Nikki and Chris, his friend Chris, and it was awesome. We like clicked like that, right? And he had, I think by that time he had a portal. I gave him a portal. When I first made the portal, I gave away 3 of them to 3 people who I thought were friends, right? One was Josh, and he is a great friend. One was Keith and Carissa of the Chill Seekers, still great friends to this day. And one was to another guy. I'm not even going to say his name, but he turned out to be like this hating backstabber. I don't know. So anyway, that's going off topic, but flew out to meet Josh, and we clicked like that. We filmed some cool stuff with the portal, and we're like, let's do this documentary, Finding the Light. We tried to do a Kickstarter with it. It didn't really go over. It's really hard to do a Kickstarter for a paranormal documentary. And that was years ago, you know, so we weren't really as known as we are now, but we managed to acquire, like, I think it was $4,000. And we used that budget, you know, to go to various locations in Key West, Florida, and film. And we made Finding the Light. And again, we clicked just like that. You know, I'd consider him like a brother at this point. And but that's how we met. He watched my videos. He bought a kit for me. He was really into this, and he got into it. And we both started, you know, doing the same kind of thing. And it just happened like that. So he's really, besides Keith and Carissa, who are not really active right now in the Chill Seekers, they're not putting out anything. Josh is the only one I really work with and talk with, because every other person I've worked with in ITC has backstabbed me or, you know, spread lie. I don't know. It was always a drama. That's going back to the drama thing I talked about earlier. So it's hard for me to trust anyone these days in this field. It's really, really hard. They would, you know, these hater guys used to pull tricks. Like, they would trash me about something silly. And it all comes down to, I'm popular and they're not. And that's what it comes down to. And I always say, let's work together, right? But they don't want to. They would rather try to tear someone down to elevate themselves. But I would get apologies. I'm so sorry, please, you know, I want to be friends again. And I would always, being me, okay, that's no problem. You know, I forgive you. It's all good. And they would go right back and do the same thing. The one guy did it 3 times. And I said, okay, I'm the sucker now for falling for this nonsense. So it's created a weird thing where it's hard for me to trust people to work with new people in ITC because I don't know what their intentions are. Um, all right, let's see. I probably missed a bunch of things. Chris Flynn, I've gotten rid of so many negative friends. I used to be that way, but doing the spirit stuff now, I'm positive and happy. Yeah, it's funny because a lot of this spirit stuff, right? If we go back to when it started becoming popular, I mean, it's been going on for years and years and years. Before we were born, there were people researching ITC. But when the TV shows started, like Ghost Hunters, right? And then Ghost Adventures, especially, it started going into a real negative place, you know, like Zach Bagans, always looking for demons, always yelling at the spirits, always, you know, talking down to them. And I never understood that. And I used to watch that and say, well, why do they go about it in this way? I think if they went about it with respect and love, they would, you know, it would be different. But then I realized it's TV, and what sells is evil, scary demons. That's what sells. So that's why they do that on TV. I didn't used to know that though, but I know that now. But it should always be done from a place of love and respect. Are you still interested in your idea of making a box large enough to have spirit show itself? It was the astral doorway. It's still my dream. I had two friends who were going to build the box, and then they backed out of building the box. And I'm not a carpenter, so, you know, I don't have the skills to, and I don't have the machinery to build a life size. Think of like a phone booth sized, but it was complex. It was going to have things built into it for not only to be the ultimate spirit box, like the ultimate portal. There was so many cool things, and I still have it drawn out. It's still going to happen one day. But there were going to be things to try to show themselves as well. But yeah, that's kind of on hold, unfortunately, because I need to find someone who can build it according to my plans. But yes, I'm still interested in it. Joe Jackson, I have what sounds like a little boy in my session, and all he says is boobies. Have you had one like that? No, I've never had one like that. That's interesting. I have had sexual messages, which I showed in a video about a succubus, and it was a pretty graphic message, but I never had a little boy talking about boobies. Yeah, Pamela, negative people, they are too much hard work. Some people stay negative. Some people can get out of it. You know, I was in a negative situation, but I wasn't the one being negative. But the more negativity that was thrown at me, I saw I was starting to become negative. But the ones who are always negative or angry or full of hate and always the woe is me, and those are the ones who will have a hard time digging out of that negativity trap. It's possible, but it's hard. Are there any other researchers in your field other than Josh whose work you respect? You know, this goes back to what I said earlier. It's kind of, I wish it wasn't this way, but I'm always so busy. I'm always doing something. And Debbie will tell you, I have 100 things going through my head at any one given moment. And she can tell me something 10 minutes prior and I'll forget what it was 10 minutes into the future. I'm always thinking about what I have to do, what I need to do, what I'm going to do, what I have to do tomorrow. And I don't have time to sit and watch work, but sometimes I do, you know, as far as people doing this today, I browse YouTube, and unless I'm missing something, I don't see anyone taking it as seriously as Josh and I do. And that's kind of hurts us in a way, because people don't want to see serious. I mean, people do see serious. We get views. You guys are here, but the mass viewing audience, they're not really interested in watching videos about spirit contact with love and respect. They want to see evil. Perfect example is the video I did, the devil one, where I caught that EVP of the devil saying he's the devil. That video is shooting up in popularity because it says something about the devil. But there's a lot of YouTubers out there now doing silly stuff like Dybbuk boxes, which are all fake. You can buy a Dybbuk box. There's people on eBay selling them for hundreds of dollars, and they just take a box, throw some stuff in it, and pour candle wax on it, and they, ooh, a demon's inside this box. So YouTubers are opening them and getting like 300,000-400,000 views, and it's not real. It's not real. It's nonsense. So most of what I see on YouTube is nonsense. Now, there are some who I see who take it seriously, and I respect anybody who takes it seriously. I just haven't become a fan of anyone just yet. Half the people who trash me on YouTube, they're using devices that they made, but they sound just like my portal. I mean, it's kind of ironic. I come across these people who make trash videos about me all the time. I don't watch them. I've never watched one video attacking me. I do not watch it. Why? Because that brings negativity into my space, and I'm not going to give those people 1 ounce of my attention. I get people messaging me, "Oh, look at this video." And I'm like, sorry, I don't watch trash. That's my response, and I don't watch it. But, I'm sure there's many amazing people out there, because I know there's people out there doing this work on a great level. I probably haven't discovered them yet, or I just haven't had time to watch. I'm more interested in people who are talking about spirituality, like the guy Josh found a few weeks ago, whose everything he said matched up to what we're doing and our evidence. And I find that amazing. But as far as like TV shows, they're entertaining. I don't watch them because I don't have time, but they're made for entertainment. They're entertaining. But I haven't seen anybody who's doing what we do and taking it this seriously. And when I do, I'm sure I will become a fan of that person. Now, one thing just popped into my head. There is someone who's taking it seriously, and she's right here in this group. Her name's Amelia. She has a Patreon page, and she uses the DR60. She uses the Wonderbox and all of that, and she takes this as seriously as we do. So I apologize. It's just I never have time to watch everything she does. But she's not on YouTube. I don't think Amelia, I don't know if you're on YouTube or you promote yourself heavily on YouTube, but she's doing some really cool stuff, actually. So Amelia is someone that I feel I can trust. So I said I don't trust anybody, but she uses my devices. I've seen her work. So yeah, there's people doing this. I'm just not aware of everybody. Where are we at here? It's snowing in Vegas. Holy cow, that's rare. Why would a spirit attack you? I do not think they have that true power. This is from Heather. Heather's full of all the questions tonight. Awesome. God gave people the power over all of his creations. I've been attacked by spirit, and I've been attacked where I've not only felt it, I've seen them and heard them while it was happening. It was horrific. It was really horrific. I've learned how to avoid that by accepting God into my heart and soul. When I was attacked, I was careless. If you're careless with this work and you delve deep into it, you can be attacked. If you have fear, which I used to have, you can be attacked. Now I'm here, I'm alive, I'm well, I didn't die, but it does happen. I've experienced it firsthand. And as to why, your question as to why they will attack you. In my case, when you're doing good, here's a scenario. What time is it? 8:43. Here's a scenario, right? You're doing this work and you start to notice all of the spirits are asking for help constantly, which I noticed that from early on. And in the beginning, it was like, why are they asking for help? You would ask them and they wouldn't really be clear about it. Then eventually they're like, we want the light, right? And then you're like, okay. And you can think, well, the light must mean the tunnel to heaven, because when you research near-death experiences, people always talk of the light, the tunnel, that they see and go into as they transcend into heaven, ascend into heaven. So then eventually the spirits will say, we want heaven, right? And over the last 2-3 years, couple years especially, last year especially, they'll mention God, they'll mention Jesus, they'll mention heaven, they'll mention the light. Excuse me. And they've called themselves this in my videos, lost souls, earthbound spirits. They've used both of those terms. So if these are lost souls, or even souls being held down by darkness or evil or the devil himself, and you're trying to help them, It turns into, you start trying to help these spirits, which I've done, Josh has done. Many out there are starting to do it. But if you're asking for the light and praying for these souls and trying to help them, evil is not going to like you very much. If you're promoting love, light, respect, positivity, God within this realm of work, the darkness is not going to like you, right? And they're going to want to try to stop you. I've had messages 2 years ago. I used to get them where we're going to kill you. We are going to break you. We're going to stop you. And at that time, I would get a little scared. And that's when I would have my issues. I've since learned the fear is not the answer. I told you earlier, I have no fear, because once you lose your fear of death, you lose your fear of life. And once you lose your fear of life, you don't fear anything. You don't fear any person. You don't fear any situation. It's kind of a liberating thing. So spirits, evil spirits do not like, figures like myself or Josh or Amelia or anyone who is out there promoting God or love and respect or helping the spirits who they do not want us to help. So that's my theory on it anyway. I mean, it all makes sense. So where are we at? Chris Flynn, I always try to take a very, another one I see, I'm very forgetful. Steve Gasick, who's here, he takes it very seriously, especially lately. He has done some amazing stuff. So I'm a fan of Steve. So here I am not remembering, because that's what I do, as I told you. Steve Gasick, I'm sorry if I'm misspelling your name or mispronouncing your name. He does some really good stuff. And Amelia and Josh, of course. So there's others that I'm forgetting. So I don't mean any kind of disrespect. It's A, my memory, and B, that I don't have time to watch all of this stuff. There's another guy, Timothy Dalton, on the ITC Collective. I've known him for years. He uses a DR60 and gets some really cool stuff. And he's been watching me for years. He has a portal or a Wonderbox. So there's people that I just forget, but they're out there. There's a lot of people who do take this seriously. So I apologize for that comment, because that wasn't nice for me to say, actually, that I don't think anybody takes it seriously. There's a lot of people taking it seriously. It's just me. I don't have time to watch it all. I wish I did. So sorry about that, guys. Is the Portal Plus app by Sanchez good to use? Portal Plus is made by Matt Payne, Paranormal Shadows UK. And I still use it. It's kind of like a copy of the SCD2. It's an offshoot of the SCD2. It has a live IP scanner. You don't want to use the banks on it. It's not that good, the Portal Plus with the banks, but the live IP scanner is decent. If you can get that connection in, then it'll be cool. We're going to do the giveaway in like 5 minutes from now. We'll do a couple more questions. Yeah, Steve, I am way too busy, but I'm sorry. I want to let people know. ITC Paranormal Sessions, he's right here, Steve. He does some really great work. He showed me some footage recently that was pretty cool. Thank you, Heather. What device do you use to run SCD2? It's a Windows, John. It's a Windows app. GhostHunterApps.com. Their apps only work with Windows devices. I use a Surface 3. It's old. It runs really slow. It's got a crack in it from me dropping it 3 times, but it works. I think Josh uses a pretty inexpensive Windows tablet he found to run those apps, but it works. Do you mean you had 3 Windows tablets that didn't work? I hope not. That's kind of not good. What would you use with your app if you don't have a portal? I would just use it by itself, but like a portal will enhance the app. It's like the SCD2 on steroids. I hate to use that term because everybody overuses it, but it really is. I didn't even tell you guys this yet, but I was laying in bed last night or this morning. I don't even remember that. And I envisioned, or it was shown to me, a new spirit device that would be pretty inexpensive to make. And anybody could, well, most people would be able to make it. Or if I made it, it would be able to be sold pretty inexpensively because it wouldn't take much time. And it was shown to me as like a weird thing, the Spirit Platter. I'm not going to say anything else about it, but it's basic and it would be perfect for enhancing the SCD2 apps like that Portal Plus or the not the SB7. It would have to be an app, but it could be pretty cool. So I'm going to try my best to make one of those. And the Patreon is what makes this all possible. Like, you know, if I didn't have Patreon, I would no longer be able to spend all this money trying these new things. So I'm going to try to make this platter idea, and you guys will be first to see it, of course. But that, you know, that reminded me when you said, what would I use if I didn't have the portal? I would normally just use it by itself, but I have this new idea where it wouldn't cost that much and it would greatly enhance the app. So I'll work on that very soon. As soon as I finish this new box, my new box is like my signature box, like everything I know that has worked in the past all into one box. So we'll see how that goes too. All right. Lived in Vegas for 14 years. Debbie and I are going to Vegas, I think in 2 weeks. We were going to go next week, but I have a camera trip I have to go on. I have to go to New York for 3 days. All right. How can I tell if I'm experiencing communication with a spirit versus what is my imagination? You know, I used to think that too. It's funny because I used to think, you know, if I was shown something, I would never want to say it because I'm like, oh, I'm just crazy, right? I'm just imagining these things. But you have to learn to trust your intuition, right? I think we all have intuitive abilities. You just have to dial it in and hone in on it. Like me, I can almost envision a switch on the side of my bald head that I can turn it off or I can turn it on. And when I turn it on is when I go into that mode, and it's within our brain or something. I'm sure it has to do something with our brain. We're like accessing a different part of our brain somehow that we've learned how to tap into. And I call it intuition. And I used to be afraid to say what I saw. And then when I started doing that in group sessions and people were like, oh, that's my grandmother. Oh, that's my mother. Oh, that's my father. That's exactly how it happened. I was like, there's something to this. And I started to trust it. And once you gain confidence, confidence is very important with an intuitive ability. You have to be confident and not be afraid. And once you are confident, and it's kind of like when you first start using a spirit device and maybe you don't believe in it fully and you get a reply, right? And then you're like, oh my goodness, I believe in it now, right? It just said my name. And then boom, there's another layer that just came off your brain and you're now more open because you believe 100%. Once you believe in your intuitive abilities and they start being validated, when they start being validated, that's when you're like, okay, this is real. And you don't have any fear to just say what you're being shown. Again, you can't be afraid. You can't doubt it. You can't doubt yourself. Be confident with it because now you may imagine something. You know, I'm sure there's times where what I see is not coming from a spirit or something divine. But it's hard, you know, I don't know. I just trust my intuition. And ever since I started doing that, it again, that's just another layer taken off and being more open. Steve, here we go. Do you shave your head? I do shave my head. I shave it every 2 days in the shower. I've been doing it. It's funny because I started losing my hair when I was 25. It was awful. I was just going thin at 25. So instead of like, oh, I'm going to grow the bushy sides, I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'm just shaving it off. So I've been like this since 25 years old. Almost 25 years now I've been with a shaved head. And now I got a squirmel on my face. What's the best app to use on your phone? I like Spiritus. Some people like Necrophonic. I think it's a little dark. I don't use it. Necrophonic, Spiritus. Yeah, Candy, right. It's hard to learn to trust it. It took me forever. And now that I do, it's boom. All right, what time we got? All right, you know what? I'm going to have Debbie come back and we're going to give away these 3 items. We have, like I said, we have this Olivia here on Patreon sent this in. Let's see if we can get it focused here. There we go. Focus, focus. Olivia sent this in. We're going to give this away first. Then we're going to give away a recorder and then a K2 meter. And no matter where you are in the world, if you win, I will ship it to you. And it usually takes me 3 or 4 days to get them boxed and shipped. But they will be shipped. Oh, here comes Debbie. I hear the door. She's in her jammies, so I don't think she's going to be on camera.
No.
All right, so what we have here is a bowl of names, all folded neatly. And I'm going to pull out a name. I'm just looking at the comments while I mix these. You're right, Susan. Positive thoughts, whatever. Here we go. Positive energy and thoughts come back tenfold. That is true. All right. All right. So here we go. We're going to give away the crystal first. So right here, sent in by Olivia, right here on Patreon. She does sell these, I think, on eBay. So hit her up if you're interested. It's a beautiful little piece. And I don't think she charges that much for them, but she's sent this one in for you guys. So here we go. Let me put this down. All right. Here's one. And I'm going to unfold it. Oh, there's 2. I'll put one back. Gina Russell. Gina Russell. Let's see if we can get this focused. Gina Russell. You win the crystal. Woohoo! All right, so let me put this to the side. All right, so now we'll give away the Sony recorder right here. This is a nice recorder. I don't think these were too cheap when they sold. This costs more new than a DR60 did. All right, so I'm going to mix these up again. Okay. Okay, we got 1. The recorder. Tennille. Tennille, right there. Hope I'm saying that right. It reminds me of, this is aging me, Captain and Tennille. Anybody who know who they are? If you're as old as me, you do. Tennille wins the recorder right here. Let me set this down. And now we're going to give away this K2 meter right here. Even has batteries in it right there. And it's a black one, so it's cool. Gonna mix up the names again. This is for the K2. Got one name here. Let's see who this is. DSJ Cook 4 is the username. Focus. DSJ Cook 4. So you win the K2 meter, and these will be shipped out in the next few days. And those who won, message me on Patreon, direct message me with your name and address. And as soon as I get that, I will print out labels and we will get them shipped out. And in the next few days, Debbie and I are going to go to the crystal shop, and I'm going to film inside and film what I'm going to buy to give away the next live stream. I'll pick out something really cool where I buy my crystals. So that should be fun too. So thank you guys for being here tonight. You know what? Let's pull out a DR60 and ask if there's a spirit here that wants to say anything. So I haven't, this is my new one. I haven't dialed it in yet. So we might get the screams, which is just about dialing it in. And I haven't really had time to mess with it. So we're going to ask really quick if there's any spirit here, even for loved ones of any of you guys who want to come through. So I'm just going to focus for a second. Are there any spirits here tonight that have any messages for any of us here. If there's any loved ones here for anyone, if there's any messages you have, feel free to leave them now. Wow, let me stop this. Now, what I saw was a woman reach over and she had this really cool bracelet on. I couldn't see it clearly, but she was like reaching, and what stood out to me was this bracelet. Like this was something she was trying to show me. So I don't know if that rings a bell for anybody, but let's see what we have on this recorder, if anything.
Are there any spirits here tonight that have any messages for any of us here? If there's any loved ones here for anyone, if there's any messages you have, feel free to leave them now.
What was that? That was loud.
Are there any spirits here tonight that have any messages for any of us here? If there's any loved ones here for anyone, if there's any messages you have, feel free to leave them now.
That was a weird, I don't know what that was, but again, this is not dialed in, but I did see a woman in her hand reaching, like she was reaching for the recorder, and she had this really cool bracelet, and I couldn't see details, but the bracelet is what was being shown to me. So thank you guys for being here. I love you all. You're all amazing. And thank you to Olivia for sending that crystal to give away. Thank you to everybody here. Thanks to Josh for joining in. Thank you, Steve, for being here. I hope that your fiance's daughter is okay and it's nothing serious. I will send my prayers. And I will also do that other thing I talked about when I close this out for Paul, hoping to send him the light. So thank you all. I will shut down now, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye, guys.